All right. So, um, I this is the start of a new project. Well, I guess it's not the start. I've been working on it for about a month or two now. Um, Trying to learn no code, Google Cloud, Firebase. So I guess this is the start of me sort of talking about it and showing everyone. But yeah, I just wanted to go along, show you what I have so far, and then I kind of want to do these daily or even do them as I'm working, and I could just maybe do it time lapse. But I think this will help hold me accountable as well as maybe inspire some other people as to what I'm working on, and create projects of their own. So let me give you a little background about this project. So this one is called Statglide, and what I hope for it to be is a universal dashboard for all of your online statistics. So it's going to compile things like Stripe, Google Analytics, YouTube, Meta, so Instagram, Facebook, and then down the line, I'd eventually like to add, outside once finish the MVP, I'd like to add ways to track all of your advertising statistics. So all your ad spend across, all your different channels, ROAS, that sort of stuff, and be able to generate reports, maybe add semantic search on top of that. Um, that's really the goal. And, as you can see, I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with Flutterflow, but I'm doing it all in no code. So this is the first project I've done in no code by myself. Currently, I have one that's being developed, that should be live here in the next few weeks. What is it? Today is the July 7th of 2023. So yeah, and that one's on Bubble, and I paid someone to do that. So yeah, this is the first project I've done on my own, and I hope to continue to do ones like it. Um, I really do like this project. I'm very passionate about it, as well as I am for UGC, which is the other project I'm working on. But yeah, so this goes off of, um, a few other dashboards that I had seen in the past that, or just one other company that was doing it, but they never ended up going live. So yeah, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm having a little bit of hard time right now, um, sort of creating these graphs in no code, but I think that's just a small little hiccup that I'm hoping I'll be able to, figure out and conquer here in the next few days, if not weeks. And then after that, I really just have to integrate all the other sources. So as for right now, all I currently have is I have only Stripe. So this is all of the endpoints I'm grabbing from Stripe. It's just balance and then pending balance. So if we look at my API calls, um, just this one is able to get you your available balance. So right now it's 0 on this test key. Um, and then also your pending balance, which right now is 28,950. And based off my JSON pass, I can pull both of those from just this single, API call. So that's ideally what I'm going to go with first. Now, in terms of populating a graph with this, it's a little bit more difficult than I thought. So what I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do is I think I'm gonna make it a periodic action. So that every 15 minutes it's gonna call the API, um, and that'll get your balance, your pending balance, and then it'll also record the date and the time. So these graphs are only gonna populate. The start of the graph is gonna populate with whatever day you added the Stripe integration, and then continue as you continue to use the service. Um, Going back and pulling like historical data with Stripe and doing all of that just doesn't seem ideal, especially when you're having to pull new data every 15 minutes or whatever. So this, in my opinion, seems like the easiest way to go about it. Um, Currently, right now, I'm just struggling with um, calling the API and then storing it in Firebase. But I think once I navigate Stripe, um, you Google, I can do everything in one authorization. And then Meta, I don't. Those two will be a little bit difficult in terms of the authentication, but I don't think it's anything that'll be too hard. So for Stripe, I already have done all the OAuth for pulling the user's API key. So if I pull up, let me pull up the Firebase console. Um, so right now, what I'm pulling is this is all the data that's fulfilled off of when a user registers, as well as the user ID. Now the access token, refresh token, and user ID are pulled from Stripe after authentication. So I do the authentication with a cloud function, and this is it right here. Super simple, but it basically just goes in and grabs, redirects you to Stripe, adding a state parameter, which is the user ID from Flutterflow. And then after that, it takes you to, you can actually see that here. Let me pull it up. So it launches the URL and then combines text with the user ID and a state parameter. You can see that if I go to the end. And state equals and then user ID. So it does all that, and then it goes through to the redirects you to the cloud function, or redirects you to the Stripe URL, the Stripe Connect URL, and then that redirects you back to the cloud function. The cloud function pulls the access token from the URL, as well as the user ID that was passed through the state parameter, and then it exchanges the access token for the API key, and then also gets the refresh token and the Stripe user ID. And then after that, uploads it all to Firebase. So it's not too complex. I feel like I can easily take this sort of code and look at other docs, the other docs from Meta and Google, and I can sort of manipulate it to create those redirects. The only thing with those that is a little bit more difficult, and I'll have to look at the docs, I haven't really dove into that too much, but is the refresh. So I know with Meta and Google, you have to refresh your API keys. And I don't know if you have to do that only when you're reading, or if you have to do it for reading and writing. So I'll have to look into their docs, but I really don't think it'll be too terrible. I think I can just set up a periodic action to exchange the tokens right before they expire. I don't think that'll be too difficult, but nonetheless, I haven't started yet, so I'm trying to figure out now just to do all of the Stripe stuff first, because I figure once I have all the API calls, all of that stuff figured out on here, I'll be able to do it with Meta and Google. Once I figure out the authentication, I'll be able to do that really easily. And then after that, really, I don't have too much. That should be almost all the functionality. Next biggest thing after that is going to be populating the dashboard. So how's that going to go about working? Right now I just have a floating action button that does a custom alert dialog, which pops up the custom component. So I'll need to figure out how to sort of populate the dashboard if I just want to do a column just like that, or if I want to be able to have people moving around, that sort of stuff. I'm not sure yet. Um, I'm thinking the column will be the best bet, and then I could organize things based on the list, based off what the integration is. But that's all easier said than done. That's something I've never done before. Yeah, keep in mind this is all new to me too, so I could just be talking out of my ass right now. I don't know. But that's sort of the plan. And then after that, let me look. Yeah, I just gotta add some logic to prevent like dual authorization. Um, so when you click on a component, it doesn't take you back to the connect page to update your or connect your account, but it'll take you straight to the template where you can add a template. So yeah, I gotta figure that out. I think that'll be easy. Because right now I have in my schema, I have connected accounts, and then I also have like, if you sign up with Stripe or whatever platform you're using, you'll obviously have a refresh token and access token. So I think I could just do base it off of that. So if you have a Stripe access token, if that field is not empty, take you to the template page. If it is empty, take you to the connect page or launch the URL. So I have an idea of how everything needs to be done. It's now actually doing it and seeing if it's possible that way. So that's what I'm working on now. I guess the biggest thing that I hope to have done by the next video is populating the graphs with the Stripe data. That's going to be the biggest thing. And then, yeah, after that, I'll be able to move on to OAuth I'll probably start with Google, because I'll be able to integrate Google Analytics. I don't know if Search Console's a thing anymore, if they combine that with Analytics. And then I'll be able to do YouTube, so do that all-in-one authorization call. Be able to pull a Google account's YouTube data and their analytics data. And yeah, and then eventually, after the MVP, I'd like to add the ability to add multiple accounts. So you can add, if you have a Stripe account for X business and then you also have one for Y business, you can have both of them on here. But that might prove to be more difficult than I think, and I might need to get some outside help for that. But yeah, so like right now, you can see all your connected accounts, which at the time is just Stripe. That's all I have connected. And you can disconnect it, and it'll remove all your data. But yeah, the whole goal with this is, security as well. So having only read functions, storing all your API keys, the user's API keys, in variables, not having them, and activating them all with cloud functions. So you really don't have to worry about security. The only thing I do not like is that I will have to store user balance and pending data. So to populate the graphs, it doesn't make sense to pull all the historical, like I said earlier, it doesn't make sense to pull all the historical data and then try and create logic to sort of decipher that and populate the graph. So that's the whole goal now. Yeah, hopefully next time I see y'all or talk to y'all, I'll have the whole Stripe thing done, and then I'll be able to basically just, to a certain extent, I'll be able to just copy and paste it over. I do still have to figure out what integrations, what endpoints I want to use for Meta and Google. I have an idea, and if we go to this other website doing the same thing, I could definitely do stuff like this. They already have it out. So that's the whole plan for that. Again, Stripe, that, and that. So it might end up being a thing that I'll have to look at the amount of API calls I can do per, I want to say Stripe does it per minute. and see if every 15 minutes works, or if I maybe need to do every hour, like this says, or daily. Um, so yeah, that's the goal with this. I'm using this as some inspiration. I did offer to buy this company at one point, but it's all done in React. Something I'm not really too familiar with. I could probably figure it out after if I spend 6 months, but not looking like something that's gonna work out. Not to mention a lot of it just doesn't work. I think API endpoints might have changed for like Stripe and some of these other ones, but yeah, that's the goal. I got to create 2 new cloud functions, populate the graphs, and then yeah, I should be just about there. I might have to get some outside help to figure everything out. But I think at the end of the day, paying someone to help me out will be well worth it instead of spending 2 weeks not getting anything done. I think this really could be a gold mine. Based off some market research, I feel like there's definitely a use for it, and people would definitely have a reason to pay, $20 a month. Maybe have a free tier that offers 2 integrations, 2 templates that you can have available, or maybe 3, just to get people in the door, and then upsell them to the $20 a month, unlimited, whatever. So yeah, that's the plan. Hopefully next time I see y'all, I'll have all the Stripe stuff done, and thank you for being along for the journey.